So I realize that a lot of you guys are used to watching gameplay content and shit on my channel, but that's not what's gonna happen today. I was originally going to plan some Mario Kart 8 update. I've given this update way too many times. But basically, I couldn't do a regular video. So instead, I'm going to have a completely hearty rant about a game that I feel very strongly about. Five Nights at Freddy's is a series that you probably already know at this point. I don't think I need to explain it. Robotic animals. You sit in one place, they try to kill you. It's the same shit recycled over and over again, and I fucking love it. This gameplay formula is so enticing, the lore is absolutely fascinating, and the characters and world building is pretty good. To an outsider, it just seems like the fans are toxic and it's furry bait, and well, yes, but there's a lot of heart and charm to these games that the creator Scott Cawthon has injected into it. And while I won't give any opinions on his retirement and his political stances, it is a shame to see him retire so soon. So that left the future of the franchise up to Steel Wool Studios, who Scott entrusted to make the latest game, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Previously, Steel Wool had helped create FNAF Help Wanted for the VR. It was a really cool collection of mini-games based around Five Nights at Freddy's. Faithful remakes, cool new additions, and give a lot of the essence of the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 story and atmosphere while also bringing in something completely new to chew on. It seemed like a soft reboot and a fresh way to start for the franchise. So back in 2019, I believe we got a teaser on scottgames.com revealing this. It looked like a massive mall with silhouettes of the animatronics that we've come to know and love. Well, I think so. We really couldn't figure out what half of these silhouettes were. There was no way. There was absolutely no way that they planned this to be Monty. But it had the tagline 2020 underneath it. And so we waited avidly during that year to get any news updates whatsoever. And then we kept waiting. Until it released in 2021. Yeah, it got a year's delay. Which I am completely all for. More time spent in the game is ultimately going to increase the quality and give them more time to flesh out ideas that they want to put into the game. We got a few tech demo teasers which showed off some of the gorgeous and admittedly creepy environments that are in this game. And when the actual trailers dropped, I was very worried, to say the least. A lot of the textures look unfinished, a lot of the animations seem quite lackluster, and the gameplay just did not seem very tight. I was only slightly cautious of this, because at this point they still were working on the game, and assuming that they work out all these kinks until release, then it should be fine. I was worried mostly about the game being too open and too big of a scope for Five Nights at Freddy's, and while those were definitely the main draws of the game, it was definitely one of the drawbacks of the game. While some of the trailers and animations look absolutely hype, it was undeniable that there was some concern on the quality control on this game. The trailers and presentation of this game seemed to completely go for spectacle over some substance, and I was worried right up to the release of this. There was a lot of promise, there was a lot of hype to build up to, and ultimately I'm gonna let you decide for yourself what you think on Security Breach, but as for me, this game did not deliver whatsoever. The good stuff about this game, it looks absolutely fantastic. It cannot be understated how impressive this game looks on a technical level, especially with ray tracing on. The way things reflect, the dynamic environment, it all just creates the environment that just leaves you in shock at the fact that this is a Five Nights at Freddy's official game that's releasing on next-gen hardware. Some of the office sequences, I liked. I feel like they could have been worked out a little more, but the fact it went back to the roots of the original Five Nights at Freddy's, I think that was pretty good. The voice acting, I think, was also done pretty well. A few of the highlights, of course, Glamrock Freddy and the daycare attendant, both voiced by the infamous Kellen Goff. The rest of them, though, they're fine, they're serviceable, although I do think the voice they gave Gregory is just a tad annoying. No disrespect to the voice actor whatsoever, it was probably the script and their direction. And that is kind of it for the good stuff. Time for my college-length essay on the bad. The rest of the fucking game. This game does not run well at all unless you have a supercomputer, and even then it is prone to frame drops. On many separate occasions, it just completely gives up as it tries to load in everything at once. This is one of the downsides of not having proper loading screens, mostly being masked by these elevators, but the fact that they load so much of the stuff at once just kinda shows that it really takes a toll on your hardware. I don't like basing my opinions on bugs and shit, because those can always be sorted out. But the astronomical amount of glitches, bugs, softlocks, and crashes that occur with this game, are completely and utterly in your face to the point where it's the only thing that you will remember about the game. Speaking of remembering things, I don't remember anything that happened in this game. Nothing happens whatsoever. We don't discover anything new, and the game was basically solved before it came out. See this really cool character? That's Vanny, hyped up to be the next killer and the next antagonist of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Who could possibly be behind the mask? What might be their motives? It's Vanessa. We figured this out like 2 months into the tease. The game is also not scary whatsoever. The sheer brightness of the environments takes away any and all dark and ominous atmosphere. The dialogue is so comical and intruding that there's nothing to fear, and the jovial tone this game presents itself as just doesn't lend itself well to the horror. Now, of course, horror games can set up a happier dynamic, but there's always that feeling of dread, like something's going wrong. In this game, it feels like nothing's going wrong. It feels like go from point A to point B, while loads of lights blare down on you, and you see the animatronics running towards you. The whole thing with the surprise of jump scares in the original Five Nights at Freddy's games is that you didn't see them coming. You were always uncertain whether you messed up.
This sucks!
But with the complete array of bugs that occur, and the amount of times that you just see the animatronics running towards you in a predictable pace, it takes away a lot from the horror. And not to mention the abundance of jump scares because of these pesky staff bots. You've heard people complain about them, and I will complain about them. The staff bots were completely overutilized in this game. Vanny, also being posed as the antagonist of this game, never poses a threat in the slightest. She appears for 3 scripted sequences, and even then, she doesn't do anything. She runs towards you, causing a static filter, but there is no proper encounter for her. You just run in the opposite direction she is coming and hide in a place the game wants you to be. I think the whole thing they wanted to go for with Vanny is try and make her a bit more of a looming threat, leaving hints and pieces behind of her identity and what she could possibly mean to the greater story. But we also know that Vanessa is also Vanny, thanks to the complete abundance of dialogue that hints towards it.
Vanny. It is very similar to Vanessa, and also Bunny.
And for those who don't buy the game and just watch it, it is very boring. Sneak, run, hide, repeat, sure, other games have this, but they have the tension to back it up. This game doesn't have that, it's just a monotonous cycle as you tried to get from point A to point B with slight interruptions. It doesn't feel like you're doing quests to help you get out of the Pizzaplex. It seems like you're doing it because Freddy wants you to do it. The game does look great, but only in well-lit areas and screenshots. The game is either way too dark, to the point where you can't even see anything, and again, that would be fine for a horror game if the flashlight wasn't so darn ugly to look at. There are absolutely no textures applied to half of these models. There is no reflective light. It just seems like you've literally just turned the brightness all the way up in a certain area. It looks lazy, it feels cheap, and it's not very impressive to look at. The movement mechanics just feel very unpolished, and every single ending sucks. No one can convince me otherwise on this. It is either Freddy dies, Vanessa dies, everyone dies, and or Gregory and Freddy escape. Tell me why any of this game matters if it doesn't reveal to us anything new about the story, characters, or anything else. They brought back one of the most primary antagonists of this game just to kill him off again, confuse the lore, and frustrate all of the fans that enjoyed the ending of Five Nights at Freddy's 6. You can get a better idea of my thoughts in this video by Drama Josh. I helped him write out the script for why we hate the Afton ending, and I share a lot of views that he presents in that video. Also, just go subscribe to him as well, he makes some really great content and he really deserves the support. But this game actively betrays the lore and importance of the Scott-era games while disguising itself as an homage. There is very little substance to this game, despite how completely grand and epic it is trying to be. I really did want to like this game. From everything that I'd seen, I was very hyped from the trailers. And being a Five Nights at Freddy's fan for the past 5 years, it really hurts to see a game with so much potential and promise go to waste like this. This just feels like a bloated fan game. Half-baked ideas, mediocre gameplay, and very little substance as a game in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Everything that made it true to the series is completely gone. I feel like this game, in general, was meant to appeal more to a widespread audience rather than the static community that we have now. And it appears by the way this game is getting viewed and reviewed by the general public, it is doing well, so I don't know what the future of this franchise holds. Note that I am recording this after Steel Wool has released their latest patch. I do admire the fact that they have tried to go back and fix half of this stuff, but a lot of my problems do not lie within the bugs and glitches of this game. A lot of them are really funny, and the fact that you can speedrun this game in under like 3 minutes is hilarious. Some people have even done it backwards. If anything, the glitches made it more fun and easy to watch for me, but now that they're gone, we just have a really mediocre game and a really bad Five Nights at Freddy's game. Now, it's not like I'm completely against Steel Wool here either. They clearly made some mistakes during development, overshooting their target. They tried to get bigger and bigger while trying to appeal to everyone, and impressing no one. And after every single thing that I have said here today, I am still a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Just because this game was a complete misstep does not take away my entire faith in this franchise. Sure, I am a little more wary of Steel Wool taking a little more charge of Five Nights at Freddy's from here on out now that Scott's gone. They are actively listening to the community, and with the right feedback, I think that they'll be able to deliver on another great FNAF game. Just scale it back a bit, just try and bring us back to the horror that we all know and love. You've created Five Nights at Freddy's VR, which was a very successful game, and you clearly have the technologies and capabilities to create something as big as Security Breach. It's just that the road to get there was a little rocky. A few other gripes, again, is just that the story of this game is really shallow. For a series that mainly focuses a lot of its appeal around the lore, there really is not a lot here, and the story beats that it does present are completely confusing and dividing the fanbase. That is thanks to in no small part to MatPat from the Glorious Game Theory, who I admire a lot for his work and dedication on the Five Nights at Freddy's series, but I think it's quite apparent that he kind of backpedaled on his final theory of this game. And I personally don't think I care too much about the lore of this game anymore. Whatever happens, happens. I'm here for the next thing. I know this was kind of a different video for me, and a very negative one at that. But I quickly want to thank you guys for just kind of stopping by, and the fact that we are above 300 now is absolutely amazing to me. I just kind of want to thank you for sticking by and enjoying the content that I put out. Links to all my socials and Discord server and that are in the description of this video, and links to all the people that I used footage from. They deserve the support just as much for that. And with that, I will hang my head in shame and stretch on forward through the Five Nights at Freddy's apocalypse. It's okay, I'll wake up any day now. It's still 2018. It's fine, it's fine!